Hello, lovers. Welcome back for another lecture. We are continuing to use tone paper. This time, we are going to draw a hairy, fluffy animal. Maybe some of the people having a hard time to do this kind of a subject. And some of you guys might have seen some of the drawing there from my Facebook. This puppy I've been drawing for a few times, and even I've been drawing for a few times, I still look at the subject as something that new to me, because every single um, angles and also the lighting change, and it will affect the outcome of the subject. So let's get started. I'm just going to draw really simple shapes, just like what I have been doing for the other lecture and demos. I always try to see things in a simplifying form, as simple as I can. Usually, I keep saying to people, drawing itself is already a complex procedure, a process. So if we think the subject's hard, look at too much of a refined details at the beginning, and this can only slow down your thinking process and also the way how you compose your subject. So I often look at my subject really simple. Doesn't matter how complex the subject is, I still look at the subject as simple as I can. So this is the initial stage, and this will be the leg of my stuffed animal, the puppy, and this will be the chest area and another front leg, and this will be the back leg, and finally the second back leg. So this is pretty much, I have composed the subject with a really simplified form. There are two ideas I have to keep in mind, which is this is a soft subject, fluffy and soft subject, and also hairy at the same time. So that I have to keep in mind. Keep reminding myself that's the basic requirement for this subject. As I said, details is for the later stage. At this point, I only look for the fundamentals as simple as I can. After the initial sketch stage, now I need to map in all the shadows, giving myself an idea what am I looking at. Once again, I'm using a tone paper, so I have to calculate what to include, what exclude. This is the nose area. As I said, I try to simplify everything that I see. giving myself an easy time to understand my subject. When the subject is more complex, that means it is time for you to think simple, to think opposite. Some of you might think that the concept is oxymoron, right? It's complex object, but you have to think simple. And usually I said, when you draw more, it's less, and when you draw less, it's more. So the idea always depends on the subject, I would say. Depends on the information that you want to include and compose on your subject. So here is my cast shadow and also my core shadow, my cast shadow right there. As you can see, the subject is being sketched out. The next thing I need to do, which is I would go ahead and unify all the shadows and darker tone area. Really simple. See, just like that. Unifying all the area. That's all. I'm going to include a little bit of a cast shadow. I will not do too much on the cast shadow area because this is once again a short demo. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the other area. It's not as important. So as you can see, it's really simple, right? Nothing fancy. Everything's flat. As I always saying that if you want to make your subject become more dimensional, and at the beginning is to make it flat. To fill in the basic first, and then think about how to modify your subject. They become more dimensional. The moment that you try to start complex details at the beginning, I would say you are aiming for more issues, and also the process could be slower. But once again, everybody has their own way to see things and also own way to compose the subject. I would not say my way is the only way. So if you like the way that how I compose the subject and makes sense to you, you're welcome to adopt the way that I'm showing you. Otherwise, you're welcome to use whatever method that you have been using before. I'm just here to show you another option. The options for you to choose and how you would like to compose your subject. Okay, so unifying the area is done. the next thing I need to do, which is, as I said, making flat. At this point, once again, nothing fancy, nothing special. Just try to make things flat. That's all. I believe many people can do this. It's not that difficult. Just make sure the tones is a little more evenly distributed throughout the surface. At this stage, after I have flattened the area, I also put in a little more of the local value on the subject, such as the hair is a little bit more brownish, so I can only use two tones, which is black and white on top of the drawing later on, combining with the tone and value of the paper. So that means actually I have three tones. Now I'm putting in a little more indication for the local value. Just adding a little more tones on it to building up more information on top, but still nothing fancy. Now at this stage, I'm just trying to map in a little more with my core shadows, indicate a little bit more. At this stage, I'm just trying to make sure my core shadows is nicely pressed in, to make sure it is indicated. That's all. Still really simple. And I try to maintain and remain the light area to be clean. Pretty much this is going to be light, the white area, and I still have to utilize the paper to see how much I can actually use the paper to do some work for me, as always. This will be the white area, so I'm going to clean it. And this could be the tone area. Let me clean the surface a little. Okay, so I have also indicate some of the cast shadow area to get ready for the next stage. So that can also separate and also identifying some of the tone change area too. At this stage, I have added a little bit more darker tone for the darker mid-tone area, and also defining the cast shadow a little more. So building up for the next stage. As I always spend more time on the build-up than on the finalized stage. But at the same time, when I'm trying to finalize my drawing at the detail area, I would slow down a lot more. So this is still the build-up stage. I'm not in a hurry before this stage is established. Texture of the subject, you have to understand what you are looking at and also how you're going to compose the subject. By just copying is not enough. By knowing what to do and how to compose the subject will increase the interest of your finished. So when people are saying, okay, just copy what you see, in this regard, I would not agree. Of course, you have to see, you have to look, try to understand your subject in a visual way. That is important. As I said, when you understand the texture while you're doing things in a certain way, and that is more helpful. That's why I've been doing so many different type of subject matters for you guys to see for the for my channel. It is for you to understand when using what, instead of just keep copying. And when people ask you, you cannot explain to people, and you don't understand the way how your subject is composed. Right? So this is what I've been doing to helping the viewers to understand why certain things happening certain way. Now, after this stage, what I need to do basically is using my eraser and the charcoal to go back and forth to build more texture on top. The final stage, as you guys have seen it, which is the white chalk to come in and finalize what it is necessary to compose on top to make the subject to come alive. So at this point, I'm starting using my eraser to do more of the drawing. When you are using your eraser, be selective. not just drawing everything that you see, you think you see actually. Sometimes you might not have to draw as much, but just because you think you see it, and then you have to compose it in a way, sometimes it might be too much to overkill the subject. Then come back once again, just like what I was saying earlier. Less is more. How do you utilize these the material that you have, and compose the subject. Now I'm just using my eraser. So I'm going to go ahead and draw more of the other area. Just some simple indication. I try to find some key movement of the third, instead of trying to copy everything that in front of me. As I said, be selective. Now, as you can see, I'm using my Willow to come back and forth with my eraser to pick up some of the area that can be enhanced with my subject. I cannot just use the basic toning and use eraser and that would be it for my subject. I can't, because some of the area I still need to use the charcoal, come back and forth. Just like plus and minus, I would do many times to get to the result. I cannot just do one time and saying, okay, I'm done. Maybe somebody can, but I can't. So I have to come back and do multiple times to finding the most important part. As I said earlier, this subject needs to be fluffy, hairy, and soft, right? So that's something that I need to aim for. At this point, I have many of the third established, and I'm just trying to refine some of the other area before I'm actually going in and use the white chalk on top. So as you can see, it's almost there. Just need somewhat the enhancement here and there. So be selective, as I said. You cannot do every single bit of it. I know as much as you want to, but try to hold on to it. Be selective. Not every single bit of the fur. You have to draw every single piece of fur. You don't have to. At this point, I'm really concerned about which area that the hair I can use, which part I don't have to use. As I said, be selective. So, what to do, what not to do. That's what you need to think about. Once I finish this part, I can go ahead and add some white chalk onto the subject and make it look even more believable as a soft and hairy object. Okay, now I'm gonna go and add some white chalk on top. Once the white chalk is on top, the subject will come more alive. Once again, you really have to calculate where the white area you want to do. Where's the brightest area you would like to add on. This paper right here is peach color once again. It's closer to the color that the local value appears on the subject. So that's why I picked this color. And when I'm doing the fur, I prefer following the direction of the hair. Some part, not all of them. Some area that I need to follow, some area I need to follow the structure. At this point, I have to calculate first the structure and then the direction of the hair. How to make the subject more believable. Once again, not everywhere, not every string of hair. I need to be careful. Something like that. Once again, this is also considered as a quick study actually. Not really quick, but it's a short-term, more complex drawing. But hopefully, with a short amount of time and the information that you receive will give you the result that you are aiming for. I was pressing too hard. The pencil just broke. But it is always good to have a backup. Okay, I'm almost done with this quick study. And as you can see, basically the fur is established, and we can feel the subject is soft and hairy at the same time. So this is a quick result because the color of the paper, it did not really appear on the screen as nicely as appear in person. Perhaps if I do it again, I would choose a little bit darker tone of paper to do more of the drawing if I need to do more in the future. So calculating what you have in person is important. At the same time, like what I'm doing now, also I would need to do a little more calculations with the subject appears on the screen too. So there are more things to learn and more calculations needs to be done. All right, this is pretty much it. As you can see, the subject, you can tell there are local value area, a little bit darker tone area, and also there are lighter tone area. The fur, the softness of the subject is basically, I would say, is a little bit roughly done. Not really finely done, but with the short amount of times that I have, I would say this would be a finish, just like this. Hopefully you will like it. If you do, please click like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. So I see you next time. Bye.